and welcome to fairbutfirm.com. My name is Joe Cortez, former international boxing referee from Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit of what happened this past weekend with Adrien Broner versus Paulie Malignaggi. It was a great fight in the sense that it was action-packed. People wanted to see what Paulie had and what Broner can do against a fighter who has a little bit more experience fighting at a different weight class. He went from a lightweight champion to try to skip the junior welterweight at 140, went up to 147 and won successfully. However, it was not a fight at the end where you could say it was one of those big, great fights. It was an okay fight where Broner was able to win a split decision. Now, a split decision, one judge scored one way for Malignaggi for a simple reason, I guess, is because Malignaggi was throwing more punches. He kept busy all night long and kept Broner more on the defense, and Broner would hit him, pop shot with harder blows. And in boxing, as you all know, that the pitter-patter punches, okay, but when you get hit with one solid good blow, that overcomes the pitter-patter punches. So Broner ended up winning a split decision, and now let's talk about trying to bring Broner back down to maybe 140 because they felt that, well, he's 23 years of age, and he has a great opportunity to have some good fights. At the 140, you got Danny Garcia, which is another tough fight for Broner, but it'll make a very good, interesting fight for the fans. And then you have Matisse, also at 140. So there's some good fighters at 140 that will be very competitive fight for Broner. And of course, if you want to stay at 147, you know, you got the Mayweather, you got the Marquez's, the guys in that league. So we don't know right now if Broner is really ready to fight against guys at 147 who are really good, solid punchers. Paulie, great guy, great boxer, had good boxing skills, and it was a night of entertainment because there was a lot of things that went on in there, and the referee, Benji Esteves, did an excellent job. When Broner's leg went up, what happened was Paulie was holding the leg and the clinch, and Broner kind of kicked it up to try to slip it out. And I think the referee did the right thing of not taking a point, because had he had not been grabbed at the leg and Broner would have kicked the leg up without being held onto, then yes, it would be justifiable to take a point. But I think Benji did the right thing and not taking a point, not getting involved with the scoring, because had it been a lot closer, that 1 point deduction, or maybe even 2 point deduction, would have made a difference in the fight. So we like to see more of the fighters take control of the scoring themselves and not let the referee get too much involved. Now, 147, like I said, Broner is going to have his hands full there, because there's a couple of good guys up there. You got Bradley, like I said before, Marquez, and you got just a bunch of tough welterweights right now that maybe Broner should wait a little bit before tackling those guys who have more experience and harder punches. He's lucky that he fought Malignaggi, who only has 5 knockouts in his career. So he did okay, but he's yet to be tested with the big boys who are heavy hitters. Okay? Now, talking about boxing, boxing to me, as I tell you guys in the past, is very close to me in the sense that I care about the fighter's health. And I'm very much aware that fighters, sometimes you have to kill them before before they quit in the fight. They will not quit. But you know, the referee is there to stop them from taking unnecessary punishment. So what happens now is the Cleveland Clinic here in Nevada, we have the Lou Ruble, it's called the Cleveland Clinic, where they do the brain testing for the fighters, football, and MMA guys. And they have over 100 athletes in this program that Dr. Bernick, who's in charge of this program, and they are doing all kinds of different tests, and there's some breakthroughs coming in as we speak in reference to the type of monitoring they're doing on the fighters. And let me tell you that I feel they're doing a good thing for boxing, because fighters sometimes are taking this punishment and in the rings while training. Sometimes these fighters take more punches while training than they do in the actual fight, because they have the headgear on and they have the heavier gloves. So they seem to have a tendency of having more protection against it, so they kind of let themselves get hit a little bit more. Well, I think that this is where trainers have to stop these gym wars, where these guys don't really have to go at war in the gym, because that's like a fight every day. But they fight for years, and you total up those amount of rounds that they have sparring, probably in the thousands compared to a couple of hundred rounds in actual fights. And you know what? It all builds up to a point where all these blows to the head can do some permanent damage to you. You have these fighters walking around with, like what they say, punch-drunk syndrome, and the fighters that are walking around with dementia. You hate to see this, and I see it all the time, and it bothers me to see that these fighters are going through these changes in their lives. We don't need this, and that's why I tell referees, please, you know, go attend these seminars on a regular basis. You have the neurologists that come in and talk to you about certain brain injuries. How is it that when a fighter gets constantly hit on the head, how the brain inside is moving, juggling back and forth. And that's why I say some of these commentators and media should attend some of these seminars and see what is it that we have to go through. We go through a battery of different tests ourselves so we can evaluate and make sure that we know when to stop a fight. Don't let it go too long. It's better stop a fight too soon. One punch too soon than a punch too late. So it's very important in boxing that we all monitor the conditioning of the fighters, especially the referees. The commissioners have to also make sure that these fighters get a yearly mandatory CAT scan to see where they're at, because we want to see them come back another day. With that said, guys, we'll talk to you next week.